Welcome to very interesting practices with Mich and Miky, who have always given um very interesting and appropriate, accurate considerations about various topics. This week we have been with the topic of society and the various considerations about society, its evolution, its main concepts, ideas, stereotypes, obviously prejudices, and all connected to society. It is difficult to express everything in a couple of training sessions in which you would devote more or less a whole semester or a year. So let me welcome Mickey. Mickey, hello, good afternoon. How are you today?
Hi, this good afternoon. I'm doing good. Thank you very much. And you?
I'm great. Thanks a lot. I was just introducing the topic of society and the connotation that it has. It's normally a topic that can take you from one semester to 1 year to 4 years, a whole career in sociology, right? And we're covering the whole topic in two or three sessions or a couple of weeks. So we're covering a very complex subject in a few lessons, but it's very intriguing. I don't know if you agree with the opinion to talk about the society, all the aspect that it entails, and the social and moral responsibility or responsibilities that most of us bear. Not
hmm
only when talking about society, Mickey, but when behaving society. I don't know if you have had an interesting approach to this topic, which has been more than intriguing because it is here where we live. What's been your summary of the chats that we have had in the last sessions, and this will be the last on this topic? Then we will change topics. What is your feeling about it?
I think that for me and for everyone, society is something so important because obviously we belong to a society, and the society is defined for the traditions of certain group of people who lives in a certain space. Above that, we talk about the difference between society now and society in the past. We know that now in society there are a lot of things to see, and there are a lot of things that have changed. And some things changed for good, and some things changed not for too good. But but yeah, it's so interesting for me. It's so interesting to know more about my society and society in general.
You mentioned two very interesting concepts. Something that has changed for the better. What have you seen to change for the better, other than technology, which obviously, well, including technology? What have you seen
Mm-hmm.
to change for the better? Let me welcome Mitch really quick. Mickey,
Yes,
please.
sure.
Hello, Mitch. Good afternoon. How are you today?
Hi, teacher. How are you?
Fine. Thanks a
I'm,
lot.
I'm very glad. Not gonna lie, I'm not very well. I'm very dizzy right now.
Well,
Yes.
maybe some fresh water, freshen up, maybe moist your water, moist your face, and you shake it up a little bit. Yeah,
Yes.
that
Okay.
happens to all of us, particularly at this time after dinner. Oh man,
Uh,
a person gets dizzy. So I understand you. I sympathize with you. I have had that feeling a number of times. Yeah. Have you ever felt dizzy, Mickey? That you say, "Oh, I'm so tired. I'm exhausted. I'm sleepy." Have you felt that like that?
Yeah, so many times. Yeah.
What do you normally do when you are dizzy, when you are tired, when you're sleepy? What do you do?
Normally I take a glass of water
Okay.
uh, because sometimes it's because you are dehydrated. How do you say? Yeah.
Dehydrated, that's one of the possible
hmm
reasons.
And sometimes when you drink water, you start to hydrate yourself, and you can feel better. Sometimes we think that when you take the pill, you feel instantly better, but it's because you take a glass of water. Water helps you
uh-huh.
to hold your body.
Um, Has it happened to you, Mickey or Mitch? I have a student who's a very good kid, excellent kid, but he's always sleeping in the mornings. And I'd ask him if he sleeps well, and he tells me, "Yeah, I go to bed at 10 and wake up at 6, so he sleeps good, solid 8 hours." And I know that it is different for everyone, but sometimes he says that he doesn't make too much exercise. I said, "Well, can you please go open the door? Or can you please open the window? Even if it's closed, I ask him to, and if it is open, I ask him to close it. If the
Hmm.
light is on, I ask him to turn it off, and if it is off, I ask him to turn it on. I get him to move him a little bit, and then he's okay after a couple of minutes. Sometimes all you need to do is to like move a little bit, right? Sometimes
Yeah,
it's the result of other things. Sometimes I have been so exhausted. Sometimes I had an argument with my mom or with somebody close to me. I mean, there are 1,000 reasons why you're dizzy, right? Or sleepy, or
yeah. There are so many reasons. There could be so many reasons.
yeah. Well, Mickey Mitch, today we're talking about how society has changed. This will be the last talk about society. Then we're going to change the topic. And Mickey was saying that some things in society have changed for the better, and some others have changed for the worse. What has changed for the better, Mickey, in your opinion?
Mm, well, in society now, I think that there are, well, I'm sure that now there are more medical services, there are more services in general, light, water, accessibility to light or to water, better education too. Mm, Now there are less people that doesn't have an education. Obviously, there are still people without education, but I know that the quantity of people that doesn't have an education um, is low than before.
Okay. I don't know if you would like to add more examples, Mitch, or more items. Would you like
Mm,
besides these ones?
well, like very much the comment of Mickey, I could add also the technology improved very much, and now it's too easy to make the task of the everyday. Um, yes, I think the comment of Mickey was very complete.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Very, very complete. And now there's been a couple of things that have changed for the worse. What can we list in this area?
Uh, well,
Mm,
in the actuality now there are more um, accessibility to a lot of information, and sometimes this information is not the correct information, so it can provocate a problem in general.
Okay.
Um, what could be
I'm going to put inadequate information.
inadequate?
Inadequate.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Mm-hmm. Part of that. Well, it's like the topic that we talked the last class. That there are things on the internet that are so explicit, and there are people of 5, 4, 6 years old in those pages, and well, at the end, it's the same example, but what else
yeah,
could
that's
be?
true. I would like to say one on my own. That's a personal opinion, but I'd like to include it if you permit me. That
Hmm.
would be very lenient social manners these days. Lenient,
what means
lenient,
that?
lenient, very lax. The opposite of strict.
Yeah, yeah.
Very relaxed
Hmm.
social manners. In the past, you could be talking with your friends and you would say big words because I was a kid too. But when an older person came, he just converted our behavior and we became very prudent, and we said only positive words. And when the older people left, oh, they left. Okay, continue with our big words, right? Now people don't care if it's a man, if it's a woman, if it's young, if it's old, if it's a teacher, if it's whatever. They have absolutely no respect for the people or for authority or for anything, and they just say these huge vulgar words. Whoever is present. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah,
Well, that could depends of each person and each situation. Maybe the student in this case have confidence with the teacher. Maybe the teacher is young. I don't know. Don't care. But well, at least in my generation, I don't used to see people to are rude to the teachers if they are not agree with that. But of course, there are some that they really don't care. But if well, it depends. But yes, you're right.
No,
mm,
what I mean is that when, for example, you go to a restaurant and then you go with, imagine that you go to a restaurant with your dad, your mom, Luis, and Mickey. The five of you go to a restaurant. And then in the next table, there will be a few youngsters saying incredibly huge and vulgar words. You will feel uncomfortable, right? You will say, well, here is my dad, here is my mom, my little brother. And you guys are saying these words. They don't care. Oh, yeah, of course. You can wake up. I have done that as a father. I've approached youngsters, adolescents, and told them, hey, kids, can I ask you a big favor, please? My girls are very young. They're 10 and 14, and they don't know these words. Can you help me there, please? And they, of course, they then only then. But you need to ask them. That has happened to me not 2 or 3 times, like 10 times. And the 10 times I have been very lucky that nobody has says, well, that's not my problem. No, nobody has ever told me that. But the 10 times I have needed to tell them, look, can you please do me a big favor? I'm with my wife, or I'm with my daughters, or I'm with my mom. What do you think about that?
Well,
yeah.
yeah.
I agree with you, teacher. Uh, I've seen those cases in my school more when I was younger because I had some classmates that were so rude, and not only with their classmates, with teachers, with directors, because mm, they don't give
Um,
respect to anything, and yeah, and I've noticed that.
Yeah. But as you can see from the list, I don't know if you wanted to add another topic in the change for the worse. Well, that's it.
the corruption and for that also the delinquents.
Yes, corruption and crime have increased. That's what you believe, Mitch, right? And I agree with you. Corruption and crime have increased. Yeah, well, I would say that all in all, the society is better now than it was 10, 15, or 20 years ago. That would be my balance, but it's a personal opinion. Mm, from what you have, obviously you're very young. There is no way for you to know what was happening 20, 30, 40 years ago. But you have your parents, you have your uncles, maybe your grandparents, and you talk to them. What is your balance, Mitch, from your conversations, from what you watch on TV, from what you have seen, from your experience, even if it is a little bit limited from your youth, not because you are not bright people, you are very bright people, but you cannot have 30 years experience if you are 28, 19 years old, right?
Mhm.
So how what is your balance from the previous times and from this time?
Mm, how is the balance?
Balance, yeah. Is it better? Is it worse in general? If you had to make a comparison between the
Uh-huh.
past and now.
Well, I think that it goes for the better because now, like I said, there are more services to people. I know that there are people who doesn't have anything, and that's a big problem. But in general, if we see in terms in general,
Yeah.
we improve in so many things. Obviously, at the same time, uh, we lost some values. I think so, for the same reason, because we have everything in technology, and I think that sometimes we are focused on that and we don't focus on other things. But at the end, I think that we're improving. We have a lot to do and a lot to work, but yeah, I think it's my opinion.
We're better. I feel the same. How do you feel, Mitch? What's
Mm,
your thought,
yeah,
your conclusion?
I think the things become better, of course, and every age of era, there's going to be things that we need to fix. But in this case, well, I think we are suffering an age of the change of everything in general, and we are trying to adapt. And there is the new kids of the new generation that are going to be this all very normalized, because I remember when I was 5 years old that my mom teach me on her way of their generation, and now since since I was 12, I seen things are really changing, and we have to change with it. I don't know, but maybe we are taking another subject. The fact that we combine all the countries in one conversation. I mean, the internet, that every countries can talk to each other. Maybe it is related to what you said, that youngsters and also adults normally says to
Yes,
talk with bad words.
that's
It is
true. That's true.
related with maybe my theory it's that they see other cultures that maybe it's normalized. For example, USA, they are more relaxed in that case, and USA is the one which, in some way, control the world. Not so much in these current days, but yeah, it has a really big impact, and not all that was good. But yeah, let's see what happened next.
Oh, well, good comment. I fully agree. It's been not only youngsters, but adults have also normalized speaking
Yes,
bad words or big words, if you will. That's true.
yes.
Very good comments. Thank you very much. Let's have a look at this square that we have in our book, which talks about social beliefs and beliefs about others. What is a social norm? And property of a reference group. What is typical, what is appropriate, and what is not, both in the social way and in the personal belief. Um, what can you see in the left, in the orange squares, Mickey or Mitch? What can you see there?
Um, what is typical in the social beliefs?
Yes, yeah. What is typical, and also what is appropriate, right?
Hmm.
And then there are social norms, and these social norms obviously have evolved have evolved. Can you name two or three countries for which social norms are different? How are
Mm,
social norms different in various places that you more or less have an idea how they are?
for example, in Japan,
Okay. How are social norms in Japan?
Mm,
I don't know if it's correct to say social norms because probably the example that I'm gonna say is not accurate. But for example, I know that in Japan they are so punctual in terms of time,
Okay.
and they are so strict too. They respect their the traffic lights and all the, how do you say it, transit signals.
Transit signs, yes, or traffic
Transit,
signs.
yeah. Mm, in general, they establish the rules, and the rules must be done.
Okay, okay, obeyed or followed.
Yeah.
Okay, that's correct. I like this comment very much. Thank you very much, Mickey. Can you name other country, Mitch, in which rules or norms are different from the Japanese and the Mexican norms?
Mm, let me think. Well, I see that in South Korea, they if for example, if the schedule of a work, even if an friendly reunions with the family or friends, if the time of the start of the event was at 7, for example, you have to go there 30 minutes, like 30 minutes or 50 minutes earlier than that. Then no, it's a fault of respect. Also, for example, there's one time a year there, also in South Korea, that when the teens have to make their that's admission exam for the college. Uh, there's not anyone going to work because they have to full concentration. There has to be in all the country full silence. There's also not can be any vehicles or anything. It could be a completely silence, and that's pretty impressive.
Oh, that's amazing. I didn't know about this.
Right.
Uh, you know this, Mickey? You know about
Mm,
this?
not sure.
It's impressive. I didn't know this custom test. Yeah,
And just what time at year? I mean,
once a
I
year.
think you do. I don't know.
Wow, that is impressive. Something that impressed me about the society of the U.S. is that parties, I think I told you this story, start at a specific time and end up at a fixed time. Normally, they last for 2 hours. At the end, the party ends when everybody fold their chairs and get a sweep and clean the place. Only then people go. And when I say people, I refer to everyone. There is not like, well, see you next time. I have to go. No, no, no. Wait. The party, everybody arrive on time and everybody leave at the same time. But the party doesn't end until you folded your chair, you put it on the wall with the other chairs. You folded the tables as well. Somebody took a vacuum cleaner, another person took a sweep. Everybody's working to clean the place. So when the place is clean, okay, the party has ended, and now you can go home.
I didn't know that.
That was impressive, and it's not an exception. Oh, that was only no. In every single party is the same.
Wow.
If the party is in a house, then somebody volunteers to wash the dishes, another to take the vacuum cleaner, another to clean up the sofa or this or that, etc. I was
Oh,
impressed by that because it's not like that in Mexico.
Yeah.
no, unfortunately. Also, teacher, something similar happened in Japan. For example, the students of all the schools, they don't have someone who works to clean the school. They have to clean their own classroom, and they can go for their houses, and also to the any place, locals or well, any place, the owners have to clean their place.
The classrooms.
Uh-huh. No, no, no.
I didn't understand this very clearly, Mitch.
Sorry.
Is it the students who clean or the owners of the school? Who
No,
cleans?
no, no, no. In the schools, the students clean their classroom, but in any other place, the owners cleans their own place. They're not hide someone to clean the places like here.
Wow, that's incredible. Japanese students of all schools don't have anyone to clean the school. The students themselves clean their classrooms. It is interesting and it's very different about norms about being clean. Well, there is something that I saw with two students that I had from Austria. This is Austrian students take a bottle of wine for the tenant for the man of the house and flowers for the lady for the woman of the house. I'm gonna put lady of the house. So let's say that somebody I once invited a couple of students, boyfriend and girlfriend. They were from Austria, and they took a bottle of wine and a bunch of flowers, and that was very nice, surprising because we were not expecting that. But they said that
Mhm.
it's a custom in Austria that every time there is a couple invited to a party or one man, let's say that they invite me only. I'm gonna go to a party and there is an Austrian couple. I must take a bottle of wine for the man and a bunch of flowers for the lady. And
Well,
I think that's very nice. I think.
yeah.
It's curious.
Yeah. Do you know any other customs or norms in society about anything?
Mm,
Mm,
I remember. I don't know if it's in. Where is this place? Uh, in Arabia, I think so. Uh, I think that to show to the person who cooks the food, to show that you really enjoy or that you really liked the food, that is normal to, how to say, burp.
Yes.
Yeah, burp in
You
way
must.
of
I
like
don't know.
of greetings or to say thank you or to say that was delicious.
Okay. Iraq. What? How do you spell this? Iraq? No. Burp. I forgot the word.
I think that is BURP.
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 Right.
Hmm.
To show that you were satisfied
Hmm.
with the meal. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. I had heard that. Yeah. It's a way to show them that you enjoy the meal.
yeah.
Well, there are different customs in many places. Another custom which is very funny. Well, it's not funny. It was funny for us because we didn't understand the context until they explained it to us. Russian visitors remove remove their shoes at the entrance, and they expect you to do the same when you visit their houses. I said, but why? This looks, on the contrary, this looks like a bit rude. But
also,
no,
the
there is a.
Japanese.
Oh, the Japanese do the same. Okay,
Mhm.
must be the same reason. Why do they do that, Mitch? Do you know?
I guess that is because we have dirty in our shoes, and they don't want to get the dirt in their floor. I remember when Haruka. I don't know if you know her. He's in different kind of work. She invited us to her place, and her mom, the first thing to told us instead of hi was, "Please put out your shoes." Okay, okay. We was in with the socks in all the place, and was interesting.
Ah, Haruka, yeah, the student that was at Instituto. I met her at Incarnate, and I saw her there and say, "Hey, hello," and for some reason she said to me that she was your friend. But how did you come into the conversation? Because there was no way for me to connect that she was your friend. There was something, and then you came in the conversation. She said, "Oh yeah, she's my friend." She was very happy. I forgot why or how it turned out that you guys were friends. That you meet with Haruko. Yeah.
Well, we
Harukas, actually.
Haruka, we
Yeah.
went in the same classroom.
Yeah, no, I know. But how could I know that? Because she was in Incarnate. When I saw her,
I think I told you
you told me,
before.
I think. Yeah, I believe so. Yeah. Yeah, I believe so. Well, the fact is that she was very happy when I mentioned your name. And then, yeah, Japanese do this.
Mm,
There is a reason for the Russians, though. Normally, there is snow in Russia because it's a northern country and it's very cold, and normally there is snow. So it is common for them to come with wet feet and wet socks. So also they ask, they ask me at least, they ask you for warmers, dry warmers, of course. And I said, "You need warmers, but why?" And so it's a custom, but it's normally because they have their feet full of snow, and they're normally wet because they get wet with the snow because it's sometimes very very high. They told
mhm,
the snow is very high. So different customs, so different places. Well, and when there are changes, for example, one day I invited a friend of mine from the US to my house, and I was not cooking. So they said, "Well, why are you not cooking? Why are you not sharing the duties of the house?" What he started to question me, and then I felt uncomfortable because I said, "Well, now I have to give explanations of my household customs." But of
Hmm.
course, there was a point in his comments that the customs were very different in his country of origin, which was the US.
mhm,
Although the man had a French ancestry, he was a very good person. What happens when you go to the US or when you go to another country and you bring your culture, your customs, your traditions, and the other people have very different traditions or customs? Which one is going to prevail, and why should it prevail?
Uh,
mm,
mm,
maybe. Oh, no, it depends of the. Cállate.
That's Kira, right?
No, it's Ronnie.
All
How can
right.
I say comodidad? Commodity?
Comfort.
The comfort of each family, each person.
mm,
I don't
I,
know.
I think that depending, for example, if like the example that you said, if it's your house, obviously uh, the custom that must prevail is the custom of your house because are your rules, you live there, and someone is invited to your house. I think so.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I should. I should. Yeah, but
Yes.
then we can argue that when the Mexicans go to the U.S., they should follow rules, and we don't always do that. Sometimes we go over there and we make parties and we go to bed late and we kiss uh, each other. Uh, so things are very different. But then people from Spain or from France come to Mexico, and boys and girls kiss the other friend, kiss in the cheeks. You say, "Oh," well, you say, instead of one kiss, is two kisses, right? Uh, or I don't know. There may be something that you appreciate from other countries or other cultures that is not in our culture. For example, everyone everyone helping to fix the house. Let's say, and I had this situation in the US in a in my house when there was a party, right? Obviously the custom was my custom that no, 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 go, no, no, we clean, no, 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 just go, okay. But the next day it was a huge mess in my house. So at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning, there was a guy knocking the door. He was a German guy. Well, it's too early. You want to continue the party? No, no, no. He started to clean. I was astonished. I was totally surprised. I said, what are you doing? Michal was his name. Well, we didn't have to clean last night. So I came here to help you clean. And he started to clean. So that was nice. We could adopt some of the customs from other people. What do you think about that?
Yes.
Yeah, of course, if someone has good behavior or a behavior that probably uh, could be great if we acquire to our society, obviously that one must prevail.
Okay.
Maybe we need more education in some subjects.
Yeah, well, they're simply different. They're simply different. For example, the Americans are not used to kissing each other in the cheeks. The Mexicans and the South Europeans are very
Oof,
much. The people from Spain, from Italy, from France,
I hate that.
that's their custom. And the Americans don't expect that. They actually put a little barrier. Um, and I don't think one is better than the other. It's just that it's different. When there are two different rules and you cannot exactly say, well, this is better than the other one, how do you make one rule? Or not how do you make, because it's not your intention, but why some cultures penetrate other cultures? Why some, for example, why and how does that happen? Many slangs, many words we are acquiring from English, many customs we're acquiring from TV. So, how is this influence exerted? Why some nations or cultures exert more influence on others and we adopt those customs even if we don't like them at the beginning, even if they may not be totally good? So, how is the culture influence carried out? How does it take place? Let me write
Uh,
the question. How does
I don't know. For example, I think that in Mexico and in the majority of countries, we are so influenced um, for the Americans, you know.
by the Americans? By the
Yeah,
Americans?
by the Americans. Probably because obviously all the movies or the majority of movies that we normally see are from that country, or the music, their food too. At least
Yes.
I think there must be one Subway in in every city, you know, restaurant, Subway restaurant. So I think that is for that reason, because I don't know if we try to copy them, but in a part we try to use some of their traditions or some of their manners too.
I fully agree. What do you think, Mitch?
Sorry, teacher, I didn't decide. I
Yeah,
take
Mickey,
care of Coroni.
okay, no, don't worry. We were saying that how does the cultural influence take place? Why are we so influenced by the Americans and other countries also? Which is the means by which we are influenced? And sometimes we change our cultures, traditions, and values. How does this happen? Mickey was saying that due to the cinema, the movies, Mickey, you said, the music,
Food too.
what, excuse me?
Food.
Food, exactly, food, yeah, food as well. So, how is the question was, how did this happen? And Mickey said that food, culture, and things are more or less not imposed, but uh, they permeate in a society mainly thanks to the means of communication. That means that the means of communication from the US is much stronger than the rest of the world. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Yes.
they make their custom prevail. That means that if you have control of the media, you would have control of the culture. Do you agree, or that's to a certain extent? What do you think about that? Can we make this conclusion, or is very daring, very a little bit exaggerated? That it has
No, it's the
the
reality.
media of the culture. Okay. Now, one question: are we interested in protecting our culture, or maybe we are flexible there? Well, I can learn something from the Koreans. I can learn a lot of things from the Germans. I can learn a lot of things from the Russians, Americans themselves, French. Are we tight? Are we very tight or attached to our culture or values, or we're not so much?
Maybe nowadays I think it depends of each family, each person, because well, I think that's about globalization. Think for another, learn from other countries, but maybe the adults, young adults or youngsters are more flexible in that part, and maybe the ones more elders, no, no, this is my culture, this is my country, I have to respect it. But I don't think that's something bad, actually. Uh, but yeah, and I don't think that it's something bad either to learn from other countries also.
Absolutely, I fully agree. Now, let me ask you something, Mitch and Mickey. This question is for both of you. I try to watch Russian movies, Jewish movies, from Israeli movies, movies from France, movies from Spain. I have watched a couple of movies from Japan. I love them. I haven't watched any movie from South Africa or from Africa. I haven't watched many movies from South America, although there are fantastic, excellent movies or TV programs. Although I like the folklore, the music, some of the songs and traditions. How about you guys? Do you watch a lot of movies from Israel, from Russia, from Italy, from France, or you watch mostly American movies? And I'm asking this question on purpose because we are saying that we are free to choose from different genres, different countries, different cultures. How is your diversity in that
Mhm.
topic?
My range mostly is like Mexicans, Americans, Japanese, and some France's. But maybe it is like their things are most like my likes. But I think I'm open mind to see whatever it gives me from any country, and maybe I'm going to judge it and for my opinion.
Yeah, but you have four that prevail more or less, or the ones that are the most common are French, Japanese, Mexican, and American. Is that correct? More or less, Mitch. Is that more or less
Yes,
correct?
yes, yes.
Very good. How about you, Mickey? Please.
Mm, mostly American movies.
From time to time, do you say that you would watch maybe a European movie, or almost never? Or
Uh, Probably. Well, sometimes yes, but it's because if it's not an American news or Mexican news recommend me that movie,
Mm-hmm.
probably I wouldn't watch it. But
It's also something about the media, though, right?
yeah, the same thing. I think that we are influenced by American movies or American. How do you say it? People who give their opinion to movies or something like that.
broadcasters?
Yeah, from the broadcasters.
Well, yeah, that happens, and that happened to me, but in reverse. When I was kid, when I was a kid, when I was a young man, about Mitch's age or your age, Mickey, I used to read only European literature. I would read books from German writers, French writers, Russian writers mostly. And then somebody recommended to me to read East of Eden. It was at home. It's a great book by John Steinbeck. And I fell in love with the book. I said, "What a fantastic book!" Then I read another book from him by him called The Grapes of Wrath, and I found that it was another great book, a fantastic book. And then I read a book by another great American writer called Ernest Hemingway, and the book was called For Whom the Bells Call, which in Spanish is Por quien doblan las campanas. Another fantastic book. And then I noticed that you will have also great writers of literature in every country. I thought that the Americans were not very cult people. I say, no, their culture is a little bit low and on their par. In reality, they're just as good as the Europeans, in my opinion, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Except that the same as you have great movies from the US, you also have fantastic movies from Japan. And if tell me if I'm wrong, Mitch, and great movies from France and Russia.
Yes.
Well, in the opposite direction, there are also just fantastic books of literature in the US written by American writers. So I would say that movies and culture would be like food. That it's a good idea to try a little bit from here, maybe from there, maybe from there, and see if you like it. What can happen? Well, that you say, well, that's not for me, right? That's the worst that can happen. What do you think about the comment, Mickey or Mitch?
Yes. Now what I think everything in general it becomes from our education or the things that we could be influenced by your environment, entorno.
Environment, absolutely.
Yes, and that could also depends on kind of lights or kind to see the things or customs. But every day we can learn something new.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Well, now that we're in the topic, could you please recommend some Japanese movies, Mitch, or French movies, for that matter?
Oof. Mm, not gonna lie. I see some of them in Netflix, but like the the names are in Japanese.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't remember so much. Sorry.
Okay. That's okay. No, that same thing happens to me. Um, or any good movies that you have seen recently, Mickey? Even if they're American, I mean, there are good American movies. Many of them are excellent.
Uh, the last movie that I've seen, it was in cinema and was called The Whale. The plot is about a person who has obesity, but obesity in extreme levels, and obviously, like all humans, he made mistakes and he's trying to continue with his life, but he has a lot of pressure and he has a lot of trauma. Can I say that?
Yes, it is.
That it is so hard to him because apart the obesity is uh, provoking so many diseases and so many health problems for him.
And what is the resolution of the movie, or what happens at the end, or how does it end?
Probably if I tell you the end of the story, I'm gonna spoil you.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, all right. So,
I would recommend you to see you in the cinema teacher. It's a good movie. Actually, the actor is nominated for the Oscars this year.
really?
Is Brendan Fraser? I think it's called Brendan Fraser. He
Oh,
was
wow.
the actor. I don't know. I don't know if you remember the movie of George in the Jungle.
George in the Jungle. Yeah, of course.
He's the same actor, but now probably with 30 or 40 more kilos.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
but
All
it's
right. Yeah. Yes. Yes, Mickey.
and the
Uh,
movie was American.
yeah. No. No. There are great American movies. There are many movies that I liked a lot. I told you I watched a movie recently called the one that you recommended me once. I think was the Sixth Sense with Bruce
Mm,
Willis and some other kid. A kid that
oh, yeah, I've seen that movie. No, I recommend you the movie, the
Yes.
German movie that it was Netflix. The name was, I forget always the name.
without novelty in the front or some of this nature.
Yeah, yeah. There's no news in the front. I don't remember.
No news, no news without news in the front.
Hmm.
Now that I remember, I think they made this movie out of a book that is pretty old, which I believe I read when I was a kid. I read a book called Sin Novedad en el Frente. I read it in
Hmm.
Spanish when I was a kid, like 15, 16 years old. That's 40 years
Oh,
ago.
really?
Yeah. And I think it is the same.
Yeah, I
But
think that it's based on. It is a German book.
yes, yes.
Jaeger yeah, monitor said. And I think that that book was forbidden in the for a long time, but then obviously all those things disappear. But I think that was forbidden for the society, for the German society.
Oh, really?
Something about it I read one day.
Okay. Well, I would like to recommend you a movie that I watched a couple of times. Is I don't like sad movies a lot, but this has interesting topics. An interesting topic. It is Moscow does not believe in tears. It's a movie that has been translated to many languages. The original is in Russian, but I would like you to please Google it and check the summary of it.
Okay.
The Can you do that, please?
Mm-hmm.
Believe and believe is
Moscow does
misspelled.
not believe in
Moscow
tears.
does not believe in tears.
It's from 1979. Yeah,
Moscow does
the
not.
movie won
Yes. Can you read
an
the?
Oscar.
The
Yeah,
plot?
yeah.
Here
Can you share?
in the screen? Sure. Mm,
Can you share it? Can you share it, Mitch or Mickey,
yes,
please?
yes, 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 yes. Oh no.
Okay, here is Mitch. Yeah, yeah. I was there for a moment.
You can see
Okay,
it?
there. Yeah, I can.
Okay, the plot is part one. In 1958, their young men, Katerina, Lyudmila, and Antonina, live in Moscow in a workers' dormitory, having emigrated from rural villages. Antonia, Raisa Razanova, is saying Nikolai, a reserved but kind young man whose parents have a dacha in the country, while Katerina Vera and Lintova is serious and hardworking working in a factory, while dreaming of earning a degree in chemistry when she is asked to how is it for her way to do Moscow relatives. Emilia Irina Morakchukova, flirty and impetuous, invites Cursor along and convinces Katerina to throw a dinner party as a ploy to meet successful men. At the party, Ilumila talks with Sergei, a famous hockey player, while Katerina meets Rulo Yuri Balsigi, a smooth talker who works as a cameraman for a local television station. During Antonina and Nikolai's wedding, Ilumila and Antonia learn that Katerina is pregnant. Rudolph refuses to marry Katerina, who gives birth to a daughter, Alexandra. Lumila and Sergei marry.
Well, yeah. Well, it could sound as a Mexican soap opera, right?
Yeah.
But you see that things happen in Mexico, in Russia, in China, in Japan, in Jupiter, everywhere, right?
Everywhere.
So, but it's an interesting ploy, an interesting plot. Um, I would recommend that if you have some time
Yes,
to
sure.
watch
Thank you
it.
very
Sure.
much.
Thank you.
Yes.
Moscow
And
does
then,
not believe.
well, finally, to come back to our topic of today, which I deviated a little bit as usual, let's just go back to the last question, and let me share the screen really quick. Um, we're talking about how customs, culture, manners permeate from one society to another, and which one prevails. And we have the hypothesis and maybe the conviction that they prevail for that, for those, or
Jaeger
for that
monitors.
which has control of the media, right? So
Mhm.
let's see if if this phrase is true. Is this true? Is half true? Is maybe exaggerated? Or maybe in only some places? Who wants to read this, please?
Me.
Okay,
Have
Mickey,
we
please.
reached a world with no manners as a modern way of behaving? Oh, mm,
Maybe not everyone, right? Maybe a few cases, but not everyone. What do you think?
yeah. Um, like everything, there are people that obviously doesn't have manners of anything, and that's the way of his or her behaving. But on the other hand, I know that there are people who has good manners and who respect people, who respect animals, and who respect all the things around him or around her. So I don't think that we have reached that, but I hope that every people, well, every person here learn about the mistakes that we made and try to improve uh, like a person in general.
Yeah, I fully agree. What do you think of this comment, Mitch? Thank you, Mickey.
Yeah.
Yes. Um, I don't know how to add. Uh,
I mean, one thing is to be liberal and to be friendly. When I was in high school, the Jesuits asked us to call us by two. Oh, Father Christian. No, no, my name is Christian. Oiga, Padre Christian. No, no, no. My name is Christian. Call me Christian. Oiga, Christian. No, Oye, Christian. Oh, I was I was frozen because I
mhm.
couldn't talk to a priest, a Jesuit father, by two, right? It had to be by usted. So it was very difficult for me. But he insisted that I called him by two, obviously with respect, and I broke that barrier. The Jesuits were very liberal, still are.
Mhm.
But that didn't mean that we had no respect for them.
Yes.
Um, so I once wrote a short story, Mich Miky, in which the title was "The Martians Conquer the Earth." And the invaders were not using guns, but they were extremely polite. They were very friendly. They were very respectful. And that was absolutely the opposite of what normal movies show, which if you are stronger, you are more violent, you have more weapons, you have more airplanes, your airplanes are faster, more powerful, and they destroy more. The destroying capacity is much higher, much stronger, and much faster. In this short story that I wrote like 30 years ago, the Martians were very polite people and they convinced everyone with their charm. They were very charming people. They were very educated. They were very courteous. And they started to gain the heart of all the people and all the society. And that's what I was thinking back then, and that's what I still think today, right? That courtesy, intelligence, good manners, good behavior should conquer the world and not violence. But
Yeah,
of
of
course,
course.
that was an utopia back then. What do you think?
Oh, obviously. Yeah, everything in every age we have things to fix and to improve.
Yeah, I think that is true. Well, we have had a very interesting conversation today, as usual. Um, Next Monday, I'd like to start a little bit earlier, like maybe if we can start 5 or 10 minutes before 4. The reason is that at 5 o'clock sharp, I have my seminars with the University of Aguascalientes,
Ah, okay,
and I
that's right.
have to
Okay.
be there at 5. So maybe we can
Well,
start
Morning.
like, is that
don't
okay? Like
worry.
5 minutes, 10 is not
Yes,
a
don't
big
Yes,
worry.
deal.
that is okay.
So what I'll try to do is to come back from the school as soon as possible, immediately eat
Hmm.
fast, and then open the session like 5 or 10 minutes before the time. Is that okay with you, Mitch, Mickey?
Sure,
Yes,
teacher, don't worry.
it is perfect. Don't worry.
Okay. Well, I hope you enjoy your weekend. You had a wonderful weekend, Mitch, Mickey.
You
Say
too,
hello to
teacher.
your
Thank you very
parents and
much.
see you Monday and take care. And I'm gonna
See
watch your
you.
movies that you recommended. Thank you, Mitch, Mickey.
Yes, teacher.
Bye,
Thank you.
teacher. Thank you very much.
Take
Take
Enjoy.
care.
care.
Take care.
Have an
Goodbye.
excellent weekend.
You too.